Good evening, everybody. I'm Jack Jinseki, and joining me today is Shin Seiuchi. Did I get that right?
It's like the English word shin.
Yeah, Shin.
Um, kind of, it comes from a very weird origin. Don't It's not important.
Okay. Don't we all?
Yeah, right.
So how long have you been doing this?
So technically, I started streaming initially back in like late 2019, early 2020, before the big calamity happened.
Yes.
Where me and one of my buddies decided while we were just like regularly playing games to just like why not stream it anyway because we're already playing.
Mm-hmm.
We thought, well, if people wanted to watch it, then they can because I thought we were pretty funny, and we got affiliated rather quickly. It took literally only like 2 months for us to get both of us affiliated on our separate Twitch accounts, which is pretty nice. But for a little while, I had issues with my actual like internet in my old apartment, so it was really hard for me to like stream consistently because it would just look really bad bitrate wise. It would like the quality would drop, my stream crash, that kind of thing. It was really annoying.
Yeah.
So I took a very long break, and then in about July 2022, uh, I play a lot of gacha games, and
Yep.
I decided, I'm literally playing this gacha game every single goddamn day. I might as well make videos for it because at that point I was also uh, not quite a whale, right,
Yeah.
for my gacha game players, but like I wasn't quite a free to play player either. So why not at least just make some videos on this? That way, I at least potentially have the ability to either make that back or just do it because I like it because it's really fun and I do it anyway. Right? That's like
Mm.
kind of my main philosophy of how I do content. Is if I'm gonna do it anyway, I might as well, I might as well record it. So I've been recording YouTube videos consistently, not like every single day, but I try since July of 2022. So it's been about like a little over 2 years since I've started using this specific image.
Yep.
It's just kind of like a PNG that I had for my streaming days, which I didn't use beforehand. And I said, you know what, this is kind of like a little avatar. Let me have this on the screen just so someone or people have something to look at while I'm, playing.
Yeah.
So yeah, but roughly about like 2 years of consistent video making, and then I did about like 6 months of streaming beforehand, and I'm kind of going back into it now.
So is there any relevance to the PNG, or is that just something you kind of found somewhere?
So this is actually like a character I made
Mm-hmm.
with an emo artist initially. So back when I was streaming initially, because we got affiliated really quickly, so I want to have emotes that way people could, if they did subscribe, they can have emotes. So I went on, the place we all go to sometimes, big old Fiverr,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I found an emote artist I really really liked, and she was really helpful. I think if I can find her, uh, but she like I basically came up with the idea. So this little guy here is technically supposed to just be like a characterization version of like me IRL kind of,
Yeah.
right? I based it mainly off myself. I was a little darker back when I got it commissioned because I went outside.
Yeah.
So nowadays now not as much, but essentially it's just basically supposed to be like a version of me. The soda I just literally like Dr Pepper, but you can't have like a branded thing. So I was like, you know what, let's just go with that. And then the actual hat I think is like the coolest part. I could probably like send some of the other emotes just so you can check them out.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, the hat itself, it's based off of those bunny hats with like the ears that you can push and the ears will flop.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's based off of that, and the artist, right? She had a cool idea of making it so that the hat itself could also emote and like be like semi sentient.
Yeah.
It's a walrus, by the way.
Yes.
Um, uh, so so she did that, and I thought it was really really cool. So like half of my emotes have like the hat also emoting with me and whatever emotion that I'm having, and I think it's really cool. Because if you don't know, the latter half of my name, the Seiuchi part,
Mm-hmm.
that is literally the word walrus in Japanese. It's exactly that. My uncle thought I based it off of a character from Anpanman. Not Anpanman. Yeah, I think it is actually like the old anime where they were like wrestlers. There's a guy. His name is like Seiuchin.
Yep.
He's just a big walrus man. It has no relevance to that, but it's I guess technically related, I guess.
Oh, no, no, I've. Speaking of which, what was the first anime you ever watched?
Mine? Okay.
Yes.
I am uh someone who grew up with the big old Dragon Ball Z,
Yep.
right? It's like easily something that was like a big part of like my childhood. Like me and my cousins would sit down in front of our TV and watch just like reruns of Dragon Ball Z.
Yep.
I think it was Kai when we were young, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently 21,
Ah.
and we would watch it on Nicktoons, right? In our basement, we would just watch Dragon Ball Z. And back then they didn't have the Buu saga, so everything ended at the Cell saga.
Yeah.
So it's just something that's been a part of my childhood for a long time. And now that I literally do it as basically like a semi job, right? I make Dragon Ball related content.
Yes.
It just kind of worked out.
I should say for the record, I avoided watching Dragon Ball for the longest time, but I have a friend that I watch.
Wow.
I have a friend that I watch anime with, and
Hmm.
he insisted that I try Dragon Ball. So I watched all the way through the original series, the original Dragon Ball, and all the way through DBZ. So I
Haven't touched GT or Super yet, huh?
no, and I haven't
Okay.
touched. Yeah, I haven't touched anything like that. And what's the thing that came after DBZ? He doesn't want to watch that one. Uh,
Initially, it was GT,
yeah,
and then after that was Super.
he doesn't want to watch GT. He says that's not non-canonical. Uh,
Oh yeah, he's not. It was initially the original continuation, but
yeah,
then they pretty much retconned the whole thing, and
yeah,
then went with a different thing when they brought the anime back.
yeah. So what's your favorite arc and what's your least favorite arc from Dragon
Okay,
Ball?
I actually have my opinion on this has changed recently,
Yes.
because similar to what you just said, since the goat Akira Toriyama's passing, me and my buddy decided we were going to rewatch the entire series.
Yep.
So I have a much more fresh opinion on a lot of the show. So
Mm-hmm.
my current favorite arc in the entirety of Dragon Ball is the 23rd World Tournament
Mm-hmm.
from original Dragon Ball. It is just, in my personal opinion, peak. Like all the fights are really, really great. I love, especially Goku versus Piccolo Jr. It's like easily one of the best fights of the entire series, and it's not too long. It's not like overdrawn out, because I know some people have a lot of problem with the Frieza fight in the
Yeah.
Namek saga, because it's literally the longest fight in anime history.
Yeah.
Right? That Piccolo Jr. fight does not have anything to do with that, and it's just straight hands the entire time, and it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely love the 23rd World Tournament.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I'm having difficulty. Who won that one?
It was Goku.
Go. Okay.
That was when he first won a world tournament.
Oh, it was the first world tournament featured in the
It was
series.
his third world tournament, but because the first one is the 21st world tournament where he fights Master Roshi.
Yep.
The second, and then it was the 22nd where he fights Tien. And he
Yes.
loses both of those. And then third one, the 23rd world tournament, he fights Piccolo, and then
Gotcha.
has a very, very close win on that one. That was
I
sick.
I loved the fight with Tien. I thought that was,
That was good.
awesome. That was really good.
Oh yeah.
Just how it just kind of goes out of the ring and then just goes off the rails. Oh, that. Anyway,
Yeah,
what?
literally they were just falling. It
So
was just a race to who falls first. Yep.
so who's what's the least favorite arc?
Okay, so least favorite, I think, is, it's kind of hard, right?
Oh,
Because, again, I don't have any personal nostalgic attachment to OG Dragon Ball, so
yeah.
I'm able to rag on it really easily,
Yeah.
right? Because, like, I don't think anybody really hates much of Dragon Ball besides, like, the initial stuff with the Red Ribbon Army and, like, Pilaf.
Yeah.
Because that stuff's just, like, very basic, but that's, like, the beginning, so I can't really hate on it too much.
Yeah.
But considering that your friend doesn't want to watch GT, he's probably happy about this. The first arc of Dragon Ball GT is easily like the worst arc in like Dragon Ball history. It is the Black Star Dragon Ball saga, and it is just complete ass. It is just bad. Right?
Even
nothing good happens. It's just bad.
even worse than the Boo arc.
The Buu arc. Okay, the problem with the Buu arc is that it's just really long, and it takes forever.
Well,
and it like changes, like it changes like where the story is going like 5 times.
Yeah.
And it just keeps going and it keeps going, and you're like, okay, can we finish it now? And it's like, no, we're gonna keep going, and we're gonna keep going, and then it ends, and it's like way too long. They drag it out. But
the oh sorry I gotta let you talk, but I have things that I want to say. Keep going, please.
Go for it.
The thing that bothered me about it was that there was just a point where I was just watching it and I was like, this is stupid. I mean, to a certain extent, Dragon Ball, I think that there's like a kind of stupidity that's built into it, if you know what I mean. But it's fun. That's what draws people to it, I think, is that it's just raw fun. But then when I was watching the Boo arc, it was like, this is stupid and I'm not having fun.
There's a lot of really good highs in Boo Saga, but there's also so many lows. So like it definitely gets a lot of criticism, but like because of the fact that it has such great moments, like with Majin Vegeta, Super Vegeta, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That I can't hate on it as much as the Black Star Dragon Ball Saga, because literally nothing interesting happens. They have like a dance battle. They fight a big baby robot. It's really, they fight just a random guy, and it's just like, this is just boring. And then they go immediately into one of the better arcs in the series, which is against Baby, who is significantly cooler. He's, I mean, if you had watched Dragon Ball Super, in my personal opinion, the idea of Zamasu is heavily based off of Baby from GT, because they're pretty much the same character. They're a guy who wants revenge, and they take over one of the main characters' bodies, and they use their body to, take over and beat up on the main characters. It's like the exact same plot, with slightly different changes. But Baby's really goddamn cool, and it's just that to get to Baby, you have to go through trash. So definitely the Black Star Dragon Ball Saga is absolutely garbage.
Well, I'll definitely have to keep watching then, because I'm curious to know what happens next, because it sounds like there's just a long stretch throughout the franchise which is just not good, and then past that people get back into it.
A little bit, yeah. There's a couple arcs that are just really bad, mixed in between with really good ones. Especially GT. GT goes bad, good, bad, good. And then Dragon Ball Super, it starts off, they did 2 movies, and then they turned 2 movies into arcs. And the arc versions of the movies are like a lot worse than the movies themselves.
Yeah.
And then they go into okay, fine, weird ending, and then to peak. So Dragon Ball Super is a very, very hit or miss show. And
then Goku says, "But I don't want to kill him."
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Yeah.
Not in OG Dragon Ball though. No Dragon Ball, he was down.
Yeah.
Kid Goku was not playing.
Oh no. So, what initially drew you to the Dragon Ball franchise?
I was 6, and I saw. I believe the first thing I ever saw from Dragon Ball is the fight between Goku and Vegeta in the Saga, and I was like, "That's cool as hell." And I was like 6, 7 years old, and then me and my cousins were all like, "Yo, he's beating him up. This is so cool, right?" And so then we would just keep watching it because it was just sick. Because that initial fight between Vegeta and Goku in the Sand Saga is so goddamn good.
Yeah.
Like they are going to town on each other, and it was just amazing to watch that as like a very young child, a very impressionable child in front of my TV. And I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta keep watching him beat up these guys. This is so cool."
And then they explode Krillin.
They do that, and then I was a little upset by that as a child. I was like, "Oh my god." I was like, my boy. He's dead. He literally is exploded.
I always felt like Krillin was kind of the stand-in for the audience, because he's the most pragmatic, but also he had the most killer fashion sense. Can I just say that?
Krillin's a real guy, right?
As the kids are saying these days, I'm 31 for the record. As the kids are saying these days, he had drip.
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah.
Not really the Boo Saga. I did not like his haircut.
Oh yeah, the weird like the bowl cut weird thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But before that, he was chilling. Yeah. Especially his fit when he was on the spaceship dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Yeah.
He was rocking the shades and everything.
Oh yeah.
Krillin hours.
Yeah. He's got the cool baseball caps. I liked those.
Oh yeah.
So and he gets the girl.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Come on.
He pulls Android 18 somehow.
How she is he punched way above his weight to get Android 18.
What can we say? He's the GOAT. He's out here. He knows how to spin the block. You know.
Well, I had a question later on. Who would you rather have fighting for you, Yamcha or Krillin? I think we both know though.
Easily Krillin. Krillin is the strongest human in the series, so he's just out here. Krillin's my GOAT.
Yeah.
I got no problems with Krillin. Krillin's just out here. He's doing his best.
That being said, they do die like the same number of times, don't they?
Krillin dies. He dies in OG Dragon Ball once, and then he dies against Frieza, and then technically dies during the Buu saga.
Yeah.
And then he also technically dies again in Dragon Ball Super, but like for like 2 seconds, and then they rewind time.
Yeah.
So I think he's actually died more than Yamcha, but Yamcha gets folded a lot more.
Yeah.
And doesn't really have a whole lot of time to shine. They also didn't bring him back for like any of the interesting fights in Dragon Ball Super. So
yeah, I just
has a lot more screen time.
Yeah, I just always thought it was kind of like, people they say to kill the character, get Yamcha'd. I always thought that was a little unfair, cause Krillin gets killed too a lot. I don't know. That's just me.
But that initial Yamcha death pose is like engraved into the anime community so much that like you got people referencing it in like slice of life anime, you got people referencing it in romance anime. It's like literally everywhere. Like you can't not avoid, if someone dies, even if it's a joke, they're gonna be in that Yamcha pose. It's just gonna happen. Like as much as I like Yamcha as a character, especially OG Dragon Ball to Saiyan Saga Yamcha, he's really cool. You gotta accept that he's just gonna get clowned on. It's like he cannot catch a W. It's just unfortunate.
So, one of the things that I've looked through your channel, and one of the things I see you do a lot of screen time on is a game called Dokkan Battle.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I had a meme for a while, right, where I would go and advertise Dokkan. Like I'm able to do ad reads really well.
Yeah.
Shout out to myself.
Yes.
Ad read. But so, where basically I would just do an ad read to random people about Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle to my friends. But essentially, it's just a Dragon Ball mobile game. It's on just every single phone, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's really just kind of like a card collector, right? That how it basically works is you summon for a bunch of cards of characters from the series, right? And then they have hard events, which is what I tend to do a lot of my content on. And like these events, it's a turn-based game, right? So you have your characters on a rotation, and you can keep them on rotation in the first 2 slots, or you can float them off in the 3rd slot, and then they'll come back some other time, right? And then you pretty much it's like a strategy game where every single turn you're going through, and you're like, okay, here's what the boss is potentially able to do to me. How am I gonna play around that? How am I gonna go forward fighting this enemy, fighting this boss? And like that's essentially what a lot of my content goes around, is just beating these bosses with different strategies, either for the first time just to show it off to people so that they can see how they could potentially beat the boss, like my first runs ever. And then sometimes I'll go in and I'll do like some wackier team. Like recently I started a series last week actually, where I'm taking a unit from last year who is probably aged out of the game's like meta already, and seeing if I can beat the current stuff in the game right now with it. Last week went pretty poorly for a while, because I was using one of the weaker characters from last year that already was kind of struggling in the game, and I brought her into a bunch of events from this year, and she lost a lot. There's a lot of losing, but we ended up getting a winning record of 4 wins over 3 losses for the week. So it went pretty okay, but it was definitely really rough. It's one of those games where luck is a very big component of if you're gonna win or not in your fights.
Yeah. And so, do you think that the game has like gotten a lot of power creep over time, or?
People have actually been really debating about that right now in the community for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're approaching our 10th year of service,
Wow.
right, for Dokkan Battle,
Yeah.
right? 10-year anniversary is coming at the end of July, like end of January, start of February, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting really close to that. So we've had a lot of different instances of really, really hard power creep. This past year has been one where people have really debated on if power creep even happened. Right?
Yeah.
Because we have characters that are so much better than every single character last year, but every single character that came out last year kind of sucked, right? They were either really wonky in the way that their character kits were designed, they were just like kind of awkward to run, they had weird conditions, this, that, and the third thing. So last year felt really hard because a lot of the characters that we were getting brand new that they wanted us to summon and spend money on kind of just sucked. So it in turn made the content harder because our characters were bad. But now our characters are really, really good. Like consistently all year. So people are like, okay, the events are significantly harder than they were last year. Like things are hitting a lot harder, things are doing a lot more gimmicks to you to make you lose. Right? They're trying really hard to make you lose, and they're setting things up in a way to make you lose with the character kits, but they're all really, really strong. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, yeah, the power creep in terms of the events is a lot bigger than it was last year, but we have so many options of things that are actually good instead of a bunch of garbage that we had last year.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things where, yeah, it happens, and it happens pretty hard when it does, but I don't think it's that bad right now.
So, what qualities do you look for in a video game?
Uh, so I play a lot of different games. I don't really stream or record a lot. A lot of them I just kind of like play for my free time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because a lot of the games that I do play right now, anyway, are gacha game. Like, I'm playing Dokkan every single day.
Yep.
Absolutely love Dokkan. I have a maxed out account basically, not in terms of character collection, but in terms of my actual like character level and everything. I'm deep in there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm never giving that up. But I've also been playing a whole lot of Wuthering Waves, which I've been making videos on recently.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing a lot of Zenless Zone Zero, pretty good game. I kind of like it. And I've also been playing a lot of Nikkei in my spare time. Which, if you don't know Nikkei, it's a very interesting game. I'll say that. I'm sure people will know what I mean by that if they've seen Nikkei.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just gacha games, and a lot of them, it's mainly like how easy is it for me to actually just get in, do what I need to do in a day, and then get out without feeling like it's a bore, right? Like
Yeah.
not like I'm just like trudging myself along to play these games. Because if the characters are interesting, if the kits of the characters are really fun to play with, then I'm like, okay, cool, I can get into this, and I can, even if the gameplay is not as good, if the characters themselves are really cool and they have really cool and flashy moves, I'm like, all right, I can stick with this, right? Which is kind of how I feel right now about like Xenozone Zero, because a lot of people rag on the game for being boring and easy, but like they just make such cool character designs with very interesting gameplay mechanics. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna keep playing this. This is fun to play. Like, sure, I'm literally washing every single content in the entire game because it's not a hard game at all. Like, I'm looking and doing really cool stuff while I'm doing that. So that's like a big aspect when it comes to like gacha games. For me, it's like if the characters are cool, I'm willing to go through subpar content if what I'm doing with it is really, really interesting. But besides that, I also play a lot of like multiplayer games. I am unfortunately someone who's played League of Legends a lot, right? I'm big into TFT as well, which is like super nerd, right? Just which is just unfortunate, but no one ever is like, "Damn, that's hot" when you talk about TFT, right? It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. And being good at TFT is a thing that is just like that's no one cares really if you're good at TFT, but I just find it fun. Right. And then I also kind of picked up the first Descendant for a while because I was really big into Destiny when it dropped. Like for the first like 6 years, I was really into Destiny, and that's been giving me my my looter shooter dopamine rush for a little bit, so, like a couple months now. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's mainly just like if I could find things interesting in it, I'll stick with it. You know.
One thing that I've noticed about video games is that this year in particular, everyone's talking about gacha games in a way that I haven't really heard them talking about them in the past. like it's the new thing that everyone is in. I mean, obviously it's not new, it's been around for some time now, but everyone seems to be playing them now. Do you have any ideas to why that is, or am I crazy?
So I think it's because this year we got two really big drops in terms of gacha into the gacha game community with Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Zenless Zone Zero, they are made by MiHoYo, HoYoverse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who, from infamous the Calamity era, dropped big old Genshin Impact on the global sphere, which made gacha games just significantly more popular
Yeah.
to a more mainstream audience. I don't personally really like Genshin Impact that much, just because I think it's kind of mediocre,
Yeah.
right? But they made that game so big for so many people, and then they dropped Honkai Star Rail, which has been an amazing gacha game. I do love it. I just don't play it all the time,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't have to. Because they made it such a good game that I don't have to play it every single day to still be able to progress. Right? Plus, their story is really good.
Yeah.
So they dropped two massive games that made it really more popular to play gacha games, on like the more mainstream scale for a lot more people.
Yeah.
And then this year, we were like, okay, here's a game that is meant to rival Genshin Impact in Wuthering Waves, and another drop from HoYoverse, the critically acclaimed gacha game makers, right? So we got these two massive drop games. So we have two basically warring communities that are like, this is now something that we are really, really into, and it's just much more popular and much more easy to get into because there's so many of them that are at bare minimum good quality games.
Mm.
So I think that's like a big proponent. Wuthering Waves has been doing amazing, right? The launch was a bit rough. That cannot be like denied. Really, it was really rough on launch,
Mm-hmm.
with like crash and bugs and all this kind of stuff. But they're such an open like developer team, where they're talking to us constantly. They're giving us updates on everything. They're patching it immediately, right? They're giving us free rewards for anything that we might have issues with. They're such a very open developer base, so we have a really good community over there, like where we're heavily communicating with developers. And then you just have Hoyoverse dropping banger after banger after banger for the
Hmm.
gacha game community. So it's just kind of like there's so many that are so good that it's really easy for people to get into and talk about, I think. Plus the community is now huge.
Yeah. So, do you have any video games you're looking forward to?
Forward to, not really, because the thing is, right, I don't play a whole lot of games by myself because like I find it hard for me to play games in like just the silence of like just me. Like I
Yeah.
like playing things with other people,
Mm.
right? So it's hard for me to get into like big like solo games. I have done it before. Like I beat all of Elden Ring and it was amazing. I loved it,
Yeah.
right? Persona 5 is one of my favorite games ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I can get through these big massive solo player games, right? It's just I don't find myself getting too deep into them. Black Myth Wukong seems really good. My computer cannot run that game. There's no way because that
Hmm.
game, like they dropped like a spec test. People like for people to like go into early and see if their computer can run that thing. Their spec test for their game has more like people playing it right now than like most games. Right? The Steam spec test for Black Myth Wukong has like more concurrent players than like half the games that dropped this year, which is really really goofy.
Wow.
I am interested in Black Ops 6 Zombies,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I'm someone who played a lot of Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3 Zombies back when I was like in high school.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's something that I played a lot. And the way that they're talking about it makes me kind of interested, but I'm kind of still waiting to see if they're gonna make it so because like they've kind of disappointed me in the past few Call of Duty installments, especially when it comes to zombies. They've
Yeah.
just been not very good. But I'm interested to see where it goes, and I'm kind of nervous about it at the same time.
Yeah. Call of Duty. The thing is that I was around when the first one came out, and
Oh man.
that franchise went in a very odd direction.
I would say so.
Because the first game, when they describe it, they're like, we want to create a realistic reenactment of what it would have been like to be in World War II. And nowadays, it's like you're a superhero.
Yeah, you can get an anime girl that comes out in a hologram on your gun.
Exactly.
So like, yeah, why not? I haven't really picked up or like bought a COD game since Cold War was the last one I bought,
Mm.
but that was purely because I saw the zombies and I was like, okay, because like I don't care about multiplayer since Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3. I have not cared about Call of Duty multiplayer in a very long time.
Yeah.
So I picked up Cold War purely because I was like, okay, the zombies looks interesting. Let me see if it's good. It's like okay, right?
I honestly didn't even know that there was a Call of Duty game called Cold War because
Yeah, that was a few years ago,
I,
like
I
4 years ago.
I'm a little bit curious as to how you make a shooting game during a war where there was no shooting.
I wouldn't know the details on that because I didn't play the campaign and I didn't play multiplayer. So
Fair enough.
I literally like exclusively play these games for the zombies mode,
Yeah.
just because that's what I really like. And because after Black Ops 3, all the multiplayers that I would try, they're either like super dark because you can't see literally anything. Like I get they want to make it so that the camouflage is realistic, but like I can't see, right? I need to open my eyes a little bit, right?
Mm.
Um, and they make the maps all dark and all close quarters. Like I just didn't like it for a while, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stop playing multiplayer,
Yeah.
and then I'm just gonna play zombies, which is the only mode that I liked. And then they made zombies. They turned it into Warzone, like the battle royale version of Call of Duty.
Uh, I know what a battle royale is, but I've never heard of that
Yeah,
one.
like Fortnite, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the Call of Duty battle royale is Warzone. They decided for some reason, starting with Cold War and then going forward until right now, to make zombies into like put it on the battle royale map and take away pretty much everything that made zombies.
Yeah.
And I just think that ruined it. I thought it was really garbage. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was just like this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So I just strayed away from it. But now they're going back to how it originally was. So I'm hoping that it's good. But if it's not, I'll be really disappointed.
So, do you have any plans on what you'd like to do with your channel in the future?
Um, Personally, like so far with my channel, right? When I initially started, again, I've been doing mainly Dokkan battle content for two whole years.
Yes.
And initially, it was really, really low view count kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, things are going a lot better, and I'm able to do much more interesting things because I'm just coming up with better ideas for my content, and a lot of my videos are doing a lot better. So I'm like, okay, this is great. But like, then I'm also making Wuthering Waves videos, which is a game that I really, really like, and those videos are doing amazing, right?
Hmm.
They're consistently getting hundreds to even thousands of views sometimes. I'm like, this is just great. I'm having a good time. So
Nice.
eventually, I'd like to branch into other games that I really, really like, right? If I like a gacha game enough to the point where I want to put content out there, then yeah, I'll do that. But mainly, I want to be able to make my Dokkan battle videos because like that's like my core thing, right?
Yeah.
But also, I want to just like have a general like gacha audience, because that's what I built my channel up on. And I feel like it'd be kind of hard to start like if I started playing TFT on my YouTube, people would not care, right? So, and that's not something that like I think is really interesting to like watch unless like from me because I don't talk
Yeah.
right when I do that. But I can easily react to stuff when it comes to gacha game. Like I can do summon videos and people are gonna be like are gonna be happy to see summons and stuff like that. I want to be able to do these like bigger summons, bigger things with my stuff because I'm someone who does like the bare minimum. I'm beating everything with like if you just got the character and nothing else, you didn't get any dupes, you didn't get anything else, right? That's what I have going for me. But I eventually want to branch into like higher tiers of like that paywall really of you can't really get your characters too much stronger unless you start dropping bands.
Yeah.
Eventually, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
So, out of curiosity, do you think you're ever gonna get a full motion VTuber, or do you think this is it for a while?
Okay, that's actually something that I've been asked a little bit actually recently because um, I've been streaming a lot when it's time to like react to stuff for the games.
Mm-hmm.
And someone asked me about that recently because when you put the fact that you are someone who uses a virtual avatar, whether it be PNG, full model VTuber, right, anything,
Yeah.
when you put that on your socials, you get so many DMs about people trying to get you to pay for like their art.
Yeah.
It gets kind of annoying sometimes,
Yes.
right? I have 10 DM requests right now about people who are like, "Hey, you want to buy my art?" And it's like, this is the same art I saw on 8 different profiles. I don't believe you're real people, right? And initially, the thing that I'm using right now, this little guy, my
Yeah.
little avatar guy, he was initially just kind of like, I'm gonna have this just so people can see something on their screen that
Yes.
relates to my voice to separate me from other people who just don't have a face cam, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not quite someone who has a face cam because I just don't own one, but I'm not someone who doesn't have a face cam at all and doesn't use anything. So I thought it was kind of different, kind of unique, right? But I kept this guy, and VTuber models and VTuber PNGs and stuff like that, they're all really, really expensive. So
Yes.
I've never had an issue, like a time where I'm like, I'm comfortable enough to drop bands that I need to get a decent looking one, right? And for the time being, I am so perfectly fine with my little guy. But like, obviously, eventually, I would love to get like a full modeled VTuber. I think it'd be really cool. One of my big like I was talking to one of my buddies as he was in my chat just talking to a couple other people. And one of the biggest things that I think would be really really cool is to see fan art of my own character. I would like literally like cry tears of joy. Right.
Yeah.
That's a dream one day once I get like actual
Hmm.
like full modeled stuff. But like that's something that I would have to be perfectly financially able to do that, and I have student loans, so that's probably not gonna happen for a while.
I feel your pain.
Yeah, I have a degree, so it's a little hard to drop a couple hundred to $1,000 on a model, and I have to pay for loans and stuff.
Oh yeah. So if you were to make another model, do you think it would look like your current character, or would you go for something totally different? You think?
Oh, 100%, because I absolutely adore how the initial artist for like this and like all my other emotes did the hat expressions. A
Yes.
lot of them look really really cute and really really cool. So I would love if that was able to be like a kind of thing because I know there is a couple that are like that. There's one I don't remember their name, but the base model is like your typical anime girl, but the actual person behind it is like a little squid
Mm-hmm.
that like sits on her head.
Yep.
So it's like kind of like that where like I'm still like the guy there, but like my hat to still have like emotions and be able to react and stuff like that. I think that like having toggles for the hat would be really really cool, right? So the hat thing, whatever the hat is, my little walrus hat, that is something that no matter what I change, I want to keep.
Absolutely. And hey, it's unique.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. There you go.
I haven't seen anything else like it, so it's been something that is kind of synonymous with how I feel about like my online presence, and I really like it a lot. And it's not that like I hide like what I actually look like, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
a very public person, right? If people ask me stuff, I'll answer. Like I don't have anything hidden,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't need to do a face reveal. You can find that information publicly, right? I just really like this character
Mm-hmm.
that that I helped create, so I just really like it a lot.
Hmm. What advice would you give to someone who wanted to make videos?
Um, just keep doing it because like that's like a big thing that I heard a lot,
Yeah.
right? And I thought like okay, that's kind of stupid to say. Like, I'll just keep doing it, obviously, right? But like the thing is, right? Consistency is like the biggest thing because if you start letting yourself just ignore it, like once, like oh maybe I'll do something tomorrow, right? Then that tomorrow becomes the next day, and the next day,
Yeah.
and the next day, and you can quickly lose the motivation that you have to keep putting out content, and it and then if you aren't putting out anything, obviously no one's seeing you,
Yeah.
so it's hard to really keep yourself going if you let yourself stop,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's not to say overwork yourself, right? Keep doing it if it's fun, and if it's not fun, stop, right? But I would just say as long as you're constantly putting out something that you think is quality that you like, that you thought, hey, I really like this, let me put this out there, people will eventually come. It took a very long time for me to get anything higher than like 3 views, right?
Mm.
The first like 3 months of like my channel were like dead, right? And I was like, this is kind of disheartening, but I'm just gonna keep doing it. And then I randomly had like 2 videos like super blow up, and they got like a couple thousand views, and I was like, okay, well now we're talking.
Hmm.
Now we can kind of keep this going, right? It gave me that bit of joy and like excitement to keep pushing myself forward, to keep making content,
Yeah.
and that's something that I think really really helped, right? Eventually stuff will happen. You just kind of have to keep doing it so that it can find you. Because if you're not doing it, obviously it's never gonna find you.
Absolutely. And now I'm kind of getting to the portion of what I'm referring to as the non sequitur questions. That is, questions that are just kind of little oddities that I like to ask. Uh,
Okay.
so first of all, if you were to choose one, Elvis or the Beatles?
So those are both pre my time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't listen to either of them. My parents, like my dad, he would be, well, demographic, I guess, because he's like a 50-year-old white man, right?
Yeah.
um, but he only really listened to like either like straight rock music or like country.
Hmm.
So I've just like never really listened to Elvis or the Beatles like at all.
Yeah.
So I even if I wanted to pick either of them, I probably couldn't because that's like so pre my time, and no one in my family ever really listened to them very much. So I couldn't really pick either of them, even if I wanted to. I think.
Okay, you're on a boat with friends. What musical artist are you listening to?
So me and one of my best friends, shout out to him. He just got engaged. Big ups. But
Nice.
me and him both, we really love this artist called Eve. He's a
Mm-hmm.
Japanese artist.
Yep.
His music is fantastic. Like he just makes banger after banger after banger. He's so goddamn good. So definitely the Eve. Great music.
Nice. And I know this reference gonna be a little before your time too.
Yup.
RoboCop or Iron Man?
So I actually have seen the initial RoboCop movie because
Yep.
my dad liked that movie. I thought
Mm-hmm.
it was okay at best. So I'm definitely picking Iron Man on that one. Definitely more into superheroes than I was into like RoboCop. I thought he was just like whatever. I was like, he's just a man. He's just a guy.
Gene Wilder or Johnny Depp?
Considering I like literally for the life of me because I saw this question, right? And I was looking at it and I was like,
Who the
I
hell
don't
is
even
Gene
remember
Wilder?
who the hell is this guy? And, like I've heard the name before, and I'm like, can I even put a face to the the name? And that's a problem that I have a lot because
Yeah.
I have a film degree, and so people ask me constantly about these like classic movies or these old movies or these actors or these directors, and I'm like, I don't know
Yeah.
who the hell these people are. I'm gonna go watch Sonic 3, right? And I have a film degree. Where like I'm coming from with this. So if I had to pick, I have seen so many goddamn Johnny Depp movies. I think I have to like biasly pick him.
Yeah.
So there's so many of them that I've seen. I'm like, yeah, he's fucking great in that.
Well, the reason I picked those two actors in particular is that they both
Yep.
played Willy Wonka, and Willy Wonka,
Is that the original Willy Wonka guy?
the original Willy Wonka guy.
That's where I've heard that from. Yeah, I'd probably still pick Johnny Depp one.
Yeah, and Gene Wilder was also he was personally he was my favorite comedic actor. He was in a lot of different stuff. Are you familiar with Mel Brooks?
I know of him.
Yeah,
Have
he
I seen a movie of his? No, probably not.
he was in a lot of Mel Brooks movies. If I would definitely recommend you watch some Mel Brooks stuff because the man was a comedic
Didn't he
legend.
make? Didn't he make? Oh, Mel Brooks. Okay, I was about to say, didn't he make the? Never mind. That's just not correct. I'm thinking of like a reference. You know, Epic Rap Battles of History.
What? Oh,
No.
yeah, no, I know,
There's
I
a
know what you're
reference to
talking
Mel Brooks in one of those, and I'm just like, is that the movie I'm thinking of? I don't think it is.
about. No, there's a movie. He did make a movie called History of the World Part One.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's a whole bunch of vignettes that are very funny. It's not my favorite of his movies, but he made movies. He made Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Spaceballs. If you've heard any of
Oh,
those.
I have seen Baseballs.
Yes, so he made
Okay.
Spaceballs.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
I've seen Spaceballs.
Portal or Undertale?
Considering I have both Portal 1 and Portal 2 completed,
Mm-hmm.
and I have not touched Undertale a single time in my entire life. Funny hot skeleton man, right?
Yeah,
Definitely going Portal. I think the comedy in Portal is great.
yeah.
Love GLaDOS. She's I was gonna call her a baddie, but I feel like that's not correct. I feel like that's I don't find GLaDOS very hot. That's what I was gonna say, but I'm like, no, that'd be lying to myself if I said that. So
Yeah. Your friends just dropped in to play video games. What are you playing?
currently, if my buddy, I can't play games with him right now because he's in the Netherlands getting engaged.
Yep.
Shout out. Right. Typically, that man only exclusively shows up and he's like, trying to play a link, and I'm like, oh my. and then we play League anyway. Oh, probably League of Legends, unfortunately.
Chess or poker?
Okay, I have never played poker in my life. People have tried to explain poker to me, right? Like I have Balatro, right? Because I like roguelikes. So I tried Balatro, and I don't get poker. I've tried so many times to understand poker, and I just don't understand it. Right? There's so many things. There's like, well, if you do this and this, but like you can't do that with this time. But if you do this, this is actually a really good move. But like it's not a good move anyway, so you don't want to do that. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell y'all are talking about, right? Like
Hmm.
it's just fancy magician speak at that point. So I'll probably go with chess. I'm kind of trash at chess, but I'd probably go with chess anyway.
Home cooked meal or restaurant?
I eat what my mommy makes because I live with my parents. So definitely a home cooked meal. Even though I really like a lot of restaurants. Like I like
Yeah.
Korean barbecue a lot.
So,
That's technically home cooked.
what's your favorite meal? You think?
Okay, so my mother is a Peruvian Japanese immigrant,
Hmm.
straight off the boat from Peru.
Wow.
Yeah, big ups to her. Right. So I love Peruvian food,
Hmm.
because I'm Peruvian,
Yeah.
and it tastes amazing. We have dish, chaufa. It's literally fried rice made out of whatever leftovers you had that week. Right? It's the simplest thing, but it's so damn good. It's typically fried rice. You got egg. Typically, you put hot dog in there. Then it's whatever meat you had that week that you still have kind of sitting in your fridge. You don't know what to do with.
Yeah.
Right? Typically, it's either chicken, steak, whatever the hell. And you can put whatever else you want in it, just because you feel like it. Delicious.
Nice. Okay.
Absolutely amazing. We stole it from the Chinese.
Okay, you're hungry and the only place that to eat is a gas station. What do you get?
Oh, okay. So here's the thing, right? I grew up, right, in a very low income town,
Mm-hmm.
right? I grew up in like a port city.
Yeah.
And the majority of the people there are very either like the highest income people there are like middle class.
Yeah.
Right? So me and my buddies after school or when we would ever hang out, we would always stop by like one of these gas stations on our way there. Now, me personally, I absolutely love Dr. Pepper. So
Mhm.
Dr. Pepper is like my drink of choice. I would never get a Dr. Pepper. Other than that, it's probably like Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Right? I was like teas, but they don't serve. They don't get. You don't get tea at a gas station. You
Yeah.
get you get something fizzy because that's what you can afford,
Mhm.
right? So I love Dr. Pepper. We're probably taking the Dr. Pepper. But in terms of snacks, right, I personally really like hot fries. But if they don't have hot fries, which sucks if they don't, because that's like one of my favorite. Like they're not really a chip, but like they're basically a chip.
Yeah, they're like a corn chip almost.
Kind of, yeah, but they're in like a fry shape and they're covered in spicy dust. But if those aren't available, I get Funyuns because I just really like Funyuns.
Hmm.
I know people are like, ew, you eat Funyuns? I'm like, yeah, I just love Funyuns. So I'm getting a Dr. Pepper and a bag of Funyuns or a bag of hot fries, pretty much.
I haven't had hot fries in freaking ages. Oh,
They're
man.
delicious.
Yeah. Oh, they're very good.
Oh yeah, way better than hot Cheetos and Takis, and I will stand on that.
Okay.
Stand my ground.
Who would you get along with better, Goku or Vegeta?
Uh, Goku is a lot more chill. I feel like the Vegeta, even now, because like Dragon Ball Super, of course, he has 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
And Bulma kind of chilled him out a bit, but he's still kind of abrasive. So probably just Goku. He's just a chill guy. He's just trying to exist, eat, fight people. I wouldn't fight him, but I'd hang out with him. He's just a cool guy.
Yeah. See, I don't know, because the thing is that I kind of, if someone is too positive to the point that it's like I kind of get a little standoffish. So I don't know. I've always been partial towards the more curmudgeonly figures. So I figure I would probably get along with Vegeta pretty well, actually.
I think the problem is, right? I feel like one wrong move and you're getting blasted into the next like year, right?
Yeah.
Like, you say something, one thing, and you might just set him off, and he'll hit you with a blast that incinerates your entire soul, right? So I'm just like, I don't want to deal with that potential.
Okay, you're in an amusement park. What do you make a beeline for?
So depends on what amusement park I'm in.
Mhm.
I am someone who loves
Mhm.
Universal Studios. I have gone many a time.
Yes.
They have a ride, the Velocicoaster, the best roller coaster I've ever been on in my entire life. So, usually, I try to make a stop there every single time I can. The lines are typically either really, really long or under maintenance. but that roller coaster is amazing. So if I'm at Universal, I'm probably gonna eventually make my way there. But I
Mhm.
tend to just kind of like go as I go. I'm a very kind of person that doesn't really like. We have to do this. We have to do. I don't really follow like a schedule. I just kind of do what I feel like I want to do.
Yeah. I haven't been to Universal for, oh god, 23 years now.
That's older than I
Yeah.
am. Sorry to make you feel old,
Nah, it's okay. Uh,
but if you go again, go on the Velocicoaster. Best roller coaster ever. It makes me feel like I'm gonna die, in a good way.
if you could go anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?
I've been trying to go back and visit my family in Japan again.
Mhm.
And I visited them for about 3 months in, I think, 2018, 2019. It was great. Had a great time. So I definitely went back. Right. There's been multiple instances where I was gonna go. One of them being in 2020, which I mean, obviously you can understand why that didn't work out.
Yeah.
Right. But that's the one place I want to go back. Hopefully this time with some of my friends. That way I can hang out with like other people there besides like my family. My family's cool. I like them a lot.
Mm.
But it'd be nice to go over there and do the nightlife and stuff now that I'm legally able to experience it all.
Yeah.
'Cause when I went initially, we just kind of did your usual sightseeing, but we also went to a couple wackier places.
Mm. So do you drive?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which of your previous cars was your favorite?
So I've only had a singular car because my
Okay.
car got paid in full basically by relief money from losing my job due to the calamity. Because
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you still can't say the thingy on YouTube without
I don't
YouTube
care.
flagging you. Right. Well,
Yeah.
it'll flag you, and your video will just get like obliterated. So I don't want to do that
Oh,
to you. But
I appreciate that.
yeah, my car got paid in pretty much in full because of relief money. I lost my job to that.
Mhm.
Right. Which I was only a lifeguard. It didn't really matter to me that much. They gave me a lot of money. Right. So I pretty much put all of it on my car. So I have a Chevy Sonic, and it is just a rinky-dinky thing that we got from this elderly couple who didn't use it anymore. It was at a dealership, but like they got it from an elderly couple who didn't use it. So it had like no miles on it. So that's the only car I've ever had. I've had it for 4 years now, and it's been chugging. It almost blew up one time, but like we don't talk about that.
Yeah. So what's the latest you ever stayed at a party?
Okay, so I've been to a couple. I'm not
Mhm.
really someone who goes to a lot of like parties.
Yeah.
But that's because I don't really go out too much. Just
Yeah.
because I feel I'm much more comfortable either hanging out with like low chill activities or like online stuff. It's easier for me because like my social battery kind of runs out, but I kind of just stick it out because I have to.
Yeah.
But I was at a Halloween party and they were very active until like 3, and I was like, can y'all chill? And I wasn't intoxicated at all. It was like a college Halloween party.
Yeah.
But, like all my friends, they were like super like wasted, so I was pretty much just there consoling drunk people the entire time. And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
I eventually hosted like a game show halfway through. I don't even know how that happened. But
It sounds remarkably similar to, well, no, my college party experience was I went there with 2 bottles of soda because I was told it was going to be a very small function. It was standing room only, loud music. I couldn't hear myself think. Everyone was drunk already by the time I got there, so I just dropped off the soda bottles in the
Pretty good.
kitchen and just left.
I can imagine that would be probably not something I would really want to be a part of. I've been in a club once, and I mean, it was an Italian club. That was all right. I could not. It was. I did not realize. You know how like in movies when they're like in like a club scenario where they have like screen flash,
Yeah.
right? I didn't realize that that's like real because like my vision would cut out like, every few seconds, and I would just be like, "Can't see. Yes, I can. No, I can't. Yes, I can." It was really trippy. So yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine that not being a favorable place to be in.
Oof. Do you ever get lost while going home?
Nah, I have a really good sense of direction.
Mm.
Like one of my friends, she has a terrible sense of direction. Her and her other friend that we don't talk to anymore, but they have a terrible sense of direction. So whenever they would literally bring me around places to help me or to help them get back to their cars and stuff. They were like, okay, because we don't know where the hell we are. Come with us, please, so that way we can not be lost anymore because my sense of direction for some reason is really damn good.
Nice. Do you collect? Oh, sorry. Do you collect anything?
Currently, no, but I did collect a couple things, right? That I still have. One, I have, I think like 300 issues of Game Informer from like 2016 to 2018, right? So I have a really, really old like game guides from GameStop, right? I don't know if they're even worth anything. I know they recently stopped printing them entirely.
Yeah.
So, and I have a bunch of really old ones. Maybe those will go for something.
Yeah. Didn't Game Informer go under recently?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're done. They're not doing them anymore.
Yeah.
So I have like hundreds of them. They take up so much space. But like I just thought the covers were really cool, so I just kept them, right? And I was gonna get them for free anyway because I had a membership, so like I had a card for GameStop because I went a lot when I was a child.
Yeah.
So I just kept keeping them because they were really cool looking, and I was like, all right, cool. Like I have like the one from when Overwatch won Game of the Year in 2016.
Wow.
Right. Like I have really old ones, so I have like a couple hundred of those. I have like a binder of Pokemon cards that I like sometimes will go and grab Pokemon cards because I think they're really nice to look at.
Yeah.
Not to do anything with them to play the game at all, but just because I think they look cool. Right. And then I have a very modest manga collection.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I actually have a magazine collection myself. Of course, I'm a hyper geek, so it's Popular Science.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It has never came in use for anything. I didn't even read it. I just sometimes browsed through it, and I was just like, I gotta stop paying for this because it's silly.
Like I'm never gonna read these things.
Yeah. And final question: what smell reminds you of home?
Cat. I've had cats all my life. Right.
Yep.
So it's a thing where it's like, yeah, cat. Like, yeah, this my house smells like cat because I have two cats, and I've always had like two cats because like you can't have just one cat because if you have one cat they get lonely, so then you get them another cat, and then the first cat dies because they get old, and now you have another cat who's used to having another cat, and now they're lonely, so you have to get them a new cat, and then the cycle just goes on forever, or else like you have a cat that's depressed, so you just don't want that to happen, so you just keep getting more cats.
Yeah.
So it just always smells like a cat. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you very much for joining me today. You can find Shin Seiuchi on his YouTube channel, which will be linked in the description. He does content including reviewing Dokkan Battle, which is a Dragon Ball Z game, and Weathering Waves. So be sure to check that out in the description. Was there anything else that you wanted to say before we head out?
Well, I had a good time. I was really nervous at first because your initial reach out to me, I was really confused personally because I was like, okay, this man sent me a letter, and it took me a while to think like, are you a bot? I get a lot of those.
How do you tell? How do you know? I've been wondering the same thing myself. I'm like, okay, here's my process. I gotta explain this. So
go ahead.
I currently have no interview content on my channel, but I want to do interviews for this channel. I need to reach out to people. I don't know. I don't have any contacts. I don't know anybody. And anybody I do know is probably, there's limited chance they're going to want to do anything. So the first thing I do is I go to Twitter, I type in VTuber, and I just look for anyone who speaks English. Then I realize the VTuber EN or EN VTuber is a quicker way to do that. But the point is, that so I find some people, and I'm not looking for anyone famous. I'm just looking for someone who's actually done it before. And so I reach out to a few random people, and I'm like, okay, well, I have to come up with some sort of form letter because I can't afford to go to every single person on the timeline and watch 2 hours of their content. So I have to come up with some sort of form letter. How do you personalize that in such a way so that they know you're not a bot? I have no idea.
I will say the letter was one of the things that was like kind of made me not feel like you're a bot. I was like, bots wouldn't send me a letter,
Yeah.
right? I was like, because the way you signed it at the end, I was like, a bot isn't gonna put sincerely, and then put a sincerely comma enter then your name. That's not gonna happen. I was like, that's kind of odd. So I brought in my other friend into a call because we were running out, and I was like, okay, so this man sent me a letter. we both looked through your channel and stuff to see if you were real.
Yep.
Right, that was like a thing. The more things that alluded me to it was one, the fact that you actually had videos on your YouTube channel.
Yes.
Right? I think before you even streamed anything. So the literally only video on it was like your introductory
Yes.
video. And then I looked through your Twitter, right? And I was like, okay, a bot wouldn't have their commission receipt info on
Yeah.
your Twitter, right? Because why would you commission art for yourself if you're not real, right? So I was like, that's why it took me a while to respond. 'Cause I was like, "Are you real?" It took me like an hour. I think. No, it took me 30 minutes, and I was like, let me get a second opinion. He also follows you. He also does the same thing. So not really the same thing as me, but he also has a model and stuff.
Yeah.
So we took him as a second opinion, and then I was like, okay, he's real, I think. Let me message you, see if you really are real. And then when she started actually talking like a regular human, I was like, okay, yeah, this is a person.
Yeah.
Because most bots, they have like a very like distinct way of speaking. They're like, hello, yes, I am an artist, and I would like for you to buy my art.
Here
you were just like, cool, bro. And then you hit me with a :D, and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah.
Oh boy. Well, I'm glad it worked, and I'm glad that I actually have some content to put on my channel now, because that was one of the things I was like, look, I got this channel, it's got nothing on it. People are gonna do a background search on me, and they're gonna wonder what the heck I am. And so I was like, okay, just put anything, some gameplay footage. What do I play? Bloons Tower Defense.
I didn't see that. I saw you uploaded some stuff because like I was trying to show someone else, and I was like, oh, he has videos now. Let me pull one of these up. Also, why are you in the woods?
Yes.
That was one of the things that like also alluded me to you not being a bot. Because I was like, why this man in the woods?
Well, no, that's actually footage I shot myself. So I
figured.
Yeah. I can't tell if that's a low key insult or not. No,
I was thinking, why'd a bot record themselves in the woods doing a model showcase?
No, I just. Yeah, but the thing is that I wanted something kind of unique to put on in the background because I didn't want it to just be anything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I wanted to stick out in some way, so I was hoping that might be a good way to do it. But yeah, I'm grateful you reached out, and I'm grateful I have some content now.
Happy to help. I would say, just because he knows that you're a bot, my friend, I think his Twitter is really long.
Yeah.
It's if you look for Lampadidi, it's a very long, like, because he has emojis and he has like 8 usernames, and that I rag on him for that.
Yeah.
But he streams and he has a VTuber model, so I'd say,
well,
reach out to him for if you would like.
Yeah, if you can send me something to contact him by, I'll certainly reach out to him.
He does follow you.
Oh.
I just checked. Yeah.
Hold on. I'll check that after I finish the stream. But like I said, Shin Seiuchi, you can find him. He does Dokkan Battle content and Weathering Waves content. And I was your host, Jack Jinseki. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.